you have a back roll, if you have a little fupa, if you got the little teacher arm, then guess what? That means you can go a couple hours without eating. One day you woke up, looked at yourself in the mirror, and told yourself,
you know what? I'm tired of how I'm looking in the mirror. Let me go ahead and start my weight loss journey today.
You started to search the internet and you trying to see what people are doing nowadays. You seeing people taking their weight loss shots, and then you come to realize there's a lot of side effects for that. So you're like, you know what? That's not for me. Then you see keto and you're like,
oh man, I gotta cut out the beans and the rice and the bread. Nah, that ain't for me.
But then you came across something called intermittent fasting. And you're like, hey, you know what? I see a lot of success stories with this. Let me go ahead and try it out for myself. So today, what we're gonna talk about is intermittent fasting.
Hey guys, my name is Michelle, Nita, Sarah, Leah, Peyton, Talia, Jazz, Marquita.
I'm a physique.
Product. Period. You love to see.
First things first, what is intermittent fasting? By the way, a lot of my clients, before they start talking to me, they say intermediate fasting. It's not intermediate fasting, it's intermittent fasting. What you're doing when you're intermittent fasting, you're giving yourself a certain time of the day where you can eat. The reason why off the rip this works for a lot of people is because a lot of people have no rules and regulations when it comes to them eating, period. So when you see physique competitors, when you see athletes, every single person that I just named has some form of a protocol that they follow. Either their coach is telling them, hey, I need you to have this amount of protein today, and I need you to eat these type of veggies, right? Or a physique athlete, they are doing something called macro counting, and if it fits your macros. So they have to hit a certain number of protein, carbs, and fat every single day down to the T. In order for that to happen, they have to measure out their foods with a food scale, and on average, they have to cook their own food. When it comes to intermittent fasting, because you're giving your body only this amount of time, and for some people 6 hours, and for some people 8 hours, but because you're only giving your body this amount of time to eat, you are actually being more calculated and more intentional with what you're eating, opposed to before you even start intermittent fasting in the first place. A lot of people don't understand when it comes to losing weight, people is not successful at losing weight, not because they're technically doing anything wrong, and it's not because they didn't come across the right information. It is the fact that they are doing it blind. They don't have a coach, they don't got nobody holding them accountable, and they're trying to mimic something that they see somebody else is doing, yet they don't have any inkling as to why they are even doing this protocol in the first place. So for instance, me, I was somebody who had weight issues all my entire life. So when I was starting my weight loss journey, I tried keto, I tried everything underneath the sun. Fat burners, supplements. The only thing I didn't try is the weight loss shots that they got nowadays. I tried counting calories, right? And I thought that,
oh, okay, well, if I'm counting calories, basically I can eat whatever I want with these calories.
So if my body needs 2,000 calories, period, for me to lose weight, I'm thinking, okay, cool, well, if I go to McDonald's, I get that baked apple pie, and I get that Big Mac meal, that's about 2,100 calories, and I choose to work out today, my Fitbit says that I burned 300 calories, that means I'm in a deficit of 200 calories. That is not how it works. For the people who tried intermittent fasting and they was not successful with it, you at the end of the day are following a window. Technically, you can eat what you want, but you still want to have better quality food. Why? When you're doing intermittent fasting, because you're doing a 6 to 8 hour window, you already on average should lose weight because you're giving your body more time to use its own sources of reserves versus you giving your body energy. What do I mean by that? The average American eats 14 hours out the day. That means from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, they probably have a coffee. By the way, even though you're not considering that eating, if you're drinking something with calories in it, that is breaking your fast, which means you are technically eating. Your body don't know the difference between a fluid and solid food. Your body is receiving calories. So let's say you start off your morning with Starbucks at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? Before you go out to work. About 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you have a little muffin or a little snack to hold you over for lunch. You have your lunch at 12 o'clock, then you have a little snack at 3 o'clock. You get home around 6 o'clock and you cook for your family and you eat what you serve to your family. If you just paid attention to what I just said, you just officially did at least a 12 to 13 hour window. That don't sound too crazy, right? But one thing a lot of people don't take into consideration, if the average American do a 7 o'clock to 9 p.m. window, which means I ate something with calories or drank something with calories at 7 a.m. and I finished off my day, had a little snack, maybe a little piece of chocolate, maybe 1 tablespoon of peanut butter at 9 p.m. That is a 14 hour window. If there's only 24 hours in a day and I eat 14 hours out the day, that means I tell my body more times to store, because keep in mind, the whole purpose of eating is to tell your body to store this energy than to burn the energy. The only way your body can actually start tapping into its own reserves or its own body fat is if you stop putting food in your mouth. Does that make sense? So if you have any reserves on your body, if you have any areas of fat that you're not too fond of, that's your body letting you know that, hey, whenever a rainy day hits, don't worry about it. We're going to be good to go because we actually got energy on hand. So if you have a back roll, if you have a little fupa, if you got the little teacher arm, then guess what? That means you can go a couple hours without eating. But because we live in America and we heard this propaganda that you're supposed to eat 3 to 5 times a day, you're thinking no matter what happens, I'm gonna pass out and die if I do not eat 3 to 5 times a day. Or you're looking at people crazy when they choose to only eat 1 time a day. Or for some people, go a whole day without food. So because a lot of people have a bad relationship with food, and we have a lot of cognitive dissonance in the fitness space where a lot of people say do this versus doing that, a lot of people is flustered and have no idea as to what to follow in the first place. So the main reason why intermittent fasting works simply is because you're finally being aware and intentional of what you're putting in your mouth at a specific time. That's it. It's nothing magical about it. It's just the fact that all your life you had no rules when it comes to food, and now you're telling yourself, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and here's why. Now you are eating food within an 8-hour window with the intent to see the scale drop. That is simply the main reason why intermittent fasting works. You're putting less food in your body, and the whole purpose of eating is to tell your body to store energy, and now your body has more time, the other 14 hours or the 16 hours out the day, to actually run up its own reserves. It's funny because when somebody signs up on my program originally, I tell them, hey,
In order for you to start this program, I want you to do a 48-hour fast.
that means you're going 1 full complete day without food. You know what the initial response is? Oh man, I can't do that. You know why they're telling themselves that? Because they heard all their life that,
Hey, if you go a day without food, you're gonna magically pass out and die.
I don't know where that came from, right? But also it's because they never attempted it. But ironically, if you go to other types of cultures, such as if you was Muslim, guess what? You're doing Ramadan. You're not eating any food or you're not drinking anything from sunup to sundown. And guess what? The average Muslim outlives the average American. Why? I'm actually having a better relationship with food, and I start to see how resilient my body is when I put it in a situation like that. But to an American, to somebody who is any other type of religion, you're not doing any form of fasting unless it's like a Daniel's fast. At the end of the day, in the Daniel's fast, you're still eating fruits and vegetables at whatever time that you desire. Okay, so because you're being intentional with what you're eating, that's why intermittent fasting works. But one thing I also want you to take into consideration, you need to have better quality sources of food, and you want to eat more protein-based foods while doing intermittent fasting. Why? A lot of people fail intermittent fasting because they come to realize,
Bro, I cannot do this. I'm just starving all day.
you know, I'm irritable, I'm hangry, I want to punch somebody in the face. And that's because you're not giving your body a quality type of food. So a lot of people, when they're doing intermittent fasting, they're still trying to sneak in them top corner chips. They're still trying to sneak in a lot of ultra processed foods. And because these foods are calorically dense foods, they're thinking that,
Hey, this food got a good amount of calories in it. I should keep full.
but because these foods are ultra processed, it's a lot of empty calories, and your body's not receiving the substrates that it's looking for. Your body's looking for 2 main things: amino acids, which comes from protein, fatty acids, which come from what? Fat. It's not looking for any carbohydrates or glucose. You see what I'm saying? So when you are eating a source of carb, you want the carbs to come from things that came from the earth, not something that came from a laboratory somewhere, you know? But you need to have more protein and fats when you're trying to do intermittent fasting. Something like salmon, something like chicken, something like turkey, something like lamb chops, even oxtails, even snapper, even mussels, even crab legs. All because you're doing a diet doesn't mean you have to eat dry ass chicken and broccoli. It's not that. People only tell you that when they don't understand nutrition. You just need to eat whole foods. And because you're eating whole foods that your body recognizes based off our genetics, right? Because majority of these processed foods didn't even exist 60 years ago. Now your body's saying, hey, that is something I recognize. That is an amino acid. That is a fatty acid. Now we can release these hormones such as CCK, which stands for cholecystokinin, and GLP-1, which is glucagon-like peptide. Ironically, that's the thing that these shots are trying to mimic, that hey, now we feel our stomach being extended, we're releasing these hormones and telling our gut that we received some food, now I'm satiated. Now I can actually follow this 6 to 8 hour window. I don't need to eat 14 hours out the day. But if you're an average American, you're eating more snacks. That Starbucks is a snack. No, fruit snacks is a snack. That little bag of popcorn is a snack. That little egg bites from Starbucks, that's a snack. You're eating so many snacks and you're not getting full, but you're eating these snacks with the intention to hold you over for a meal. So the best tip I can tell you if you're trying to follow an intermittent fasting protocol, have more meals in a day than snacks. You're going to realize the days that you have more snacks in a day than meals, those are the days that you are starving to death, or those are the days that you have to extend your window. Why? Because you are literally just hungry. But that's because you're not giving your body the right type of calories. Your body wants real whole sources of food. So I'm not telling you this to basically say, hey, you need to cut out all your snacks. What I'm saying is prioritize meals and supplement your day with a snack. Keyword, a snack or two. Don't have more snacks in the day than actual real meals if you're trying to follow intermittent fasting. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Hopefully that gives you more insight on how intermittent fasting works. When it's all said and done, if you followed a 14-hour window, even a 12-hour window, like a lot of these fitness competitors do, or your favorite fitness influencer on Instagram does, and you are weighing out all your food like these people do. They're not eyeballing nothing. They are measuring everything out to the T. Believe it or not, you can have a bigger window and you can still expect the scale to drop. Why? Because these people are being intentional with what they're putting in their mouth. The name of the game is be intentional. You got to be aware. Self-awareness is the best type of awareness. So now if you're somebody who does not like to count calories, you don't like to do if it fits your macros, if you don't want to measure and weigh everything out, like me, I follow an intermittent fasting window. Now I have more room for error. I can be a little bit more lenient. And because I'm still being intentional, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me have a little bit more protein on my plate. Let me add some of this sauce to it. And let me have some veggies, right? But then I have another meal, not relying on snacks. Now I can expect the scale to drop. When it's all said and done, it's about calories in, calories out. If you honestly tell yourself, hey, I can only eat within this type of window, you're more likely to eat in a caloric deficit because you're not eating all day long like you used to do. That's the only reason why it works, okay? So you can do the camp of intermittent fasting like me, or you can do the camp of I need to weigh out every single day. Question is, what works better for your lifestyle? But either way, both options work. So is intermittent fasting magical? No, it just helps you be more aware of what you're putting in your mouth, which the average person don't, because a lot of Americans, we have a bad relationship with food. Okay? If this video makes sense to you and you want to have a little bit more information on how you can start seeing the scale drop and lose a quick 10 pounds within the next month, what I want you to do is actually send me a DM on Instagram, Reset. And what I will do is I'm gonna actually send you my audiobook free, which is $97. But because you watched the video, I'm gonna send it to you free. That way you can start losing fat that'll never come back. And that way you can be snatched up all the time, not at some time. Other than that, I'll talk to you soon.